spotted one way up on the hillside.
Oh my goodness.
Hi everybody, I am Paul Winterman with Winterman's Wildlife Images, and this is my wife Julie.
Hello.
In our travels, probably our favorite state to go to is Montana, and our favorite national park is
Glacier
National Park. Yes, it's phenomenal. Everywhere you go there, it's beautiful scenery. The wildlife is incredible. If you want to see mountain goats and bighorn sheep, that is moose, a little bit of everything, but that's probably one of the go-to places for those type of wildlife. Our favorite hike there is Grinnell Glacier. It's a 9-mile hike in, 18 miles round trip. On the particular hike that we're going to be talking about, I think we ended up at 24, 25 miles because we were following wildlife in different directions and really extended our mileage on our hike. And also I'm carrying probably 35 pounds of camera equipment on my back in my backpack. We started up the hike. It was very smoky. Unfortunately, it's not really good for scenic photography, but there was a lot of wildlife on this particular trip. We were probably about 3/4 of the way up, and here come all these people running down the trail. And it was a pretty busy day.
Yeah.
And as the people are running up to us, they're saying, "Hey, grizzly bear just come down on the trail and it charged some people." I was open carrying. I had my handgun with me along with our trusty big can of pepper spray for the bears. And we're talking to the people, and they said this bear come running up and charged some people. So the people that actually got charged was coming down the trail, and they come up and their eyes are watering.
They sprayed it, but against the wind, and the wind blew the pepper spray in their eyes instead of at the bear.
So it wasn't really a good situation for them because, where this bear come down to the trail at, it was a sheer drop off on one side, and it was only a path of about 2 or 3 foot wide. So basically the bear had nowhere to go but down the trail, and the people had no way to escape except for go the opposite way with what bear was on the trail.
Right.
It ended up being kind of funny because of me open carrying, people see I've got a gun. They're like, "Hey, we're following you." So what do we have?
Probably like 20 people behind us.
So they're like, "Okay, you're leading." So I take off. I start heading up the trail. Well, we get up the trail ways, and we see some bighorn sheep that are up on a cliff. So I'm like, "Hey, folks, taking a break. I'm going to go take some pictures. That's what I'm up here for." So they kind of hung out and was waiting on me. Well, of course, when I'm photographing wildlife, I'm going to be following it for hours sometimes.
Right.
And it's.
So finally, they're like, do you think he's going to be a while? I'm like, he's going to be a while. So they're like, oh, I guess we're going to take the chance and go on up, because they weren't taking pictures of the wildlife. So
yeah. So while I'm taking pictures of the bighorn sheep, I spotted wolverine. I've only seen one wolverine in my life, and it's been years ago in Colorado when I was elk hunting way back in the mountains. So anyway, I'm going to try to get some pictures of this wolverine, and it is on the move. And those things are known for traveling 50 to 100 miles at a time. I mean, they don't slow down. It was on the run, so I'm running, trying to keep up with it. I'm getting shots of it, but it went over cliffs and everything else. I finally gave up. There was no chance I was going to stay with it. I got some shots that are not really usable for anything except for maybe showing on this video. And later on, I actually talked to a ranger from the park and told him that I saw a wolverine. He was like, "Hey, you got pictures of it?" And I pulled it up, and he was like, "Wow, you really did see a wolverine." And he was telling me that there's actually only a couple of breeding pair of wolverines that they know about in the park. So he asked me later on, I ended up emailing him pictures of the wolverine so they would have it documented, that's pretty cool. After the wolverine left me, we went back and we were walking along the cliffs, and we spot some bighorn sheep bedded up on the cliffs up above us. all of a sudden one of the bighorns jump up and is looking down the cliff, and you can see this grizzly just running along, and it comes to a ledge, and you can see it picking its head up looking, and the sheep took off, so it kind of changed directions. And that was part of the story. The people that got charged had watched the grizzly bear chasing bighorn sheep, trying to catch them, which was kind of interesting. Well, we watched the bear. We followed it for quite a while by ourselves. There was nobody else around, but it was headed back toward the glacier. We followed it pretty much toward the end of the glacier.
Well, it kind of went up and around, and we lost sight of it until we got right up to the end of the glacier, and then we saw it again coming up over the mountains.
Well, where it come back down at was at a resting area for the hikers. So there was a lot of people that were there. They spotted the bear. So we were kind of in a group of people, and I'm taking pictures. Julie's doing a little video, and the bear was actually, it was like it was on a feeding frenzy. A lot of times if they're injured or have some problem with their mouth, they get really, really aggressive. So I don't know why the bear was, so aggressively feeding and actually charged some people, but we watched it. It was running around throwing rocks and digging, and we could actually see it eating some ground squirrels that it had dug up. And it come running down and passed probably within 20 yards of us. And Julie is concentrating on videoing the bear and wasn't really paying attention, so I'm like, hey, we need to back up a little bit.
In my mind, I'm like, you got a gun, I think I'm safe, but not really.
Well, the bear come down and come right past the crowd of people and went on. Due to the fact it was so aggressive, normally we would follow wildlife because that's how we get the best pictures, is to watch them in their natural environment and stay with them for hours and hours and hours. I didn't think it was such a good idea because this bear was so aggressive. It charged people, and it was chasing bighorn sheep and everything else, and really just, like I said, almost on a feeding frenzy. I mean, it was just going one spot to another, just digging and everything else. So, but it was very cool to watch. At one point, it was running up the side of the mountain, and it come up to a glacier, which is it's melted off pretty good, but it's still pretty daggone steep.
You can't really tell in the video how steep it is until he starts tumbling.
Well, it come down the face of a cliff, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize bears could traverse that kind of rocks and stuff. But it gets to the glacier, and it starts across it, and it's slipping, and it lunges and lunges, and then all of a sudden it starts falling, and it's sliding, and it's tumbling and trying to get its footing, and it slides all the way down the glacier, and then at the bottom it hits down into the gravel, and you can see it stand up and kind of shake itself and look around like, wow, did anybody see that? It was pretty entertaining. We got some video of it. The first video was a little shaky.
I didn't get any video of it coming down the glacier. I don't know why I didn't do it.
Well, it happens.
I know.
I miss a lot of really good shots sometimes too. So, but I did get a few really good pictures, but I got a lot of pictures that were grainy, too far away. They're going to be good for this video, but as far as for sales or anything, it's probably not going to be that good to us. If you guys would check out our website, it's winterlandswildlifeimages.com. And if you would, share, like,
and
subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that, so
I do.
Subscribe.
Subscribe, please.
All right, thank you. Enjoy the video.
That's priceless.